let us at least start all of this, right? Cool. Welcome back to another stream, everyone. My voice sounds very nasally. I have been down with a cold for like the past week and a half, and it sucks. And just because of how my life is, I haven't had the time to recover. I should be over this by now, but I'm really not. I mean, even yesterday, I had work all day, school all day, homework all day. I was up for 21 hours yesterday, running off of 3 hours of sleep. So between last night and the night before, I have had the total of 7, no, probably like 10 hours of sleep. Which is probably more than some of you, but anyways. We have some new stuff. The audio is off. I will turn it on here in a second. But this week we have Legendary Astral Alignment. So the Legendary difficulty is now available with new challenges and rewards. I think that can't be match made, if I remember correctly. Like matchmaking is off. Yep. You have to go in with a team because you got equipment lock, match game. Hold up. I thought it's like you'd get kicked back to the start when everyone dies, or you black out in the darkness zone. Anyways, let's turn on all the sound. 5, 7, 6. All right. Just have a couple of items and materials. So a few things that happened this week. I completely finished Festival of the Lost. I have all the triumphs done. So yeah, it was also fall break over the weekend. So luckily, like between like Wednesday evening and like Sunday, I had all the time in the world, and this honestly did not take long. I was mainly trying to work on my Gambit. I did Prestige, or not Prestige, Call of Duty term. I reset my rank once during the Gambit Double Infamy week. I am now only at 2,000 now. That's going to take a while to get back up to 10, but I need to hit that in order to get the ornament. So that's a work in progress. Crucible, I'm nowhere close. I mean, I haven't even reset my rank, so I've got another like 1,500 points to go. No, sorry, 15,000 points to go, which is so much. It's so much. Vanguard, I did reset, but as you can see, I'm only at 60. So I feel like Vanguard is the one that takes the longest. I'm going to wait for double weeks to really start grinding these out, but in the meantime, I'll start prioritizing work on like the pinnacle activities and whatnot. And that should build up some rep. Let's see what the seasonal activities are for this week. So just auto rifles and melee attacks, legendary difficulty. My clan might do this. I probably won't record it, but my clan will do that. Trials of Osiris, Gambit, which is fine. Okay. Oh. I'll be able to complete all of these really easily except this. So. Anyway, that's kind of the update with everything I've done this past weekend. Another thing I got is... Oh, it's not on this character. Give me a second. I finally, after many runs and lots of cheesing, freaking got 1K. So, that's exciting. I'm really happy about this. It's so nice. Again, your magazine and reserves is abysmal, but it's such a fun gun. Oh my gosh. What a terrible week for me to do story time. So let's go to the helm and to the tower, and we'll just kind of figure stuff out for a little bit. Again, I don't think there's any like weekly quests or activities. I have no need for these pages anymore. Same with Candy, because as you can see, I have the last mask.
Checking right now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I turn in like completed spectral pages for stuff? Or is it just for Candy? Like, what can I do with manifested pages?
Oh yes, this is exactly what I was thinking.
I might as well grab the rest of the bounties, but I really want to get the
Let's get started.
Bright Dust, because I want that armor set.
I love it.
What do you think?
So what should we do? I want to do like one activity or two before we start reading. Hopefully maybe my sinuses will calm down between now and then. I doubt it. As I'm,
Are you ready?
it's in the YouTube description, but we have
Requisition approved.
we have 27 lore pages to read through today. I could try to split them up into two. In fact, let's check this real quick.
Want you to be happy, my dear. He wouldn't want to see
So we have
you
Europa, Luna, Nessus. Oh, so it's divided into threes with 9 pages per story. How about this? We'll play a little bit. We will read through the Tales of Europa.
making it
And then hopefully next week I feel better so we can read through Luna and Nessus together. How does that sound?
Remember, my friend.
Because I feel like by the time I'm done with Whatcha Bucket, it's my everything is gonna just be dead. I still need to do all the Crucible stuff. I haven't been playing Crucible nearly as much as anything else. I have not done a GM. Really should have last week. I haven't even touched Astral Alignment this whole last week. So why don't we do like a round or two of Astral Alignment, huh? They'll be kind of our activities. Oh. Why don't we get rid of some umbrals while we're here? Just declutter everything. We need rose petals? What are these? Oh, never mind. It's just textures around the place. It looks like you guys are all like doing a ritual ceremony with those. Savathun! Hello. Alright, there's nothing here. Let's run back to the Umbral Decoder. Get rid of all of our Ingrams, and then we'll call it good. The only thing I'm really working on now is a Cartesian coordinate with a better battery roll. But other than that, I just don't have many rolls I want to run for. It's like in terms of the armor, they suck. Like, it's just no point in me focusing for armor. Because I'm not that big heavy into like stats and whatnot. Tier 3 focusing, I mean, I've already gotten a good hand cannon. My shotgun, I actually have a great roll for. And the other weapons I just don't care about. But I want to use parallax trajectory. Just get rid of these. Never mind, it's gonna cost legendary shards anyways, huh? I didn't see that. Was that a 1330 chest piece? Finally. I'm just missing legs. Well, my legs are the last ones. And I'll be 1330. It's probably a good roll, but I just don't use pulse rifles. Alright. Let's do some astral alignment. So we got unstoppable overload. What bounties do we need to do? Kinetic, precision, bow. We can hit literally three birds with one stone there. Strikes, precision. Okay, that's fine. Grenade launcher, trace rifle, and bow. Bow we can keep working on. Trace rifle. I'll pull out Aggers once we're done with bow. Spectral pages, we can get that super easily. We just need to do a few haunted lost sectors, complete a strike. Haunted lost sector. Defeat combatants, complete sectors. Solar weapon, linear fusion, shotgun, and scout. Where's my linear? Oh, you're on my Titan. I guess we could just use sleeper, huh? Very cool.
Your compass's work is almost done. We need to defend the blind well for just a while longer. And then Savathun will kneel before the one true queen of the reef.
It's kind of hard to get precision kills here. Well, I tried.
The Taken threaten not just territory, but the very fabric of our reality. And they'll start with the Blind Well. We have to close down any Taken rifts. Physical destruction alone will not deter the Taken. Their essences must be secured.
I do want to say thank you to everyone who's been watching my Halo streams. I just finished Reach this past week. If you missed them, they're on my YouTube channel. Feel free to go back and rewatch those. Reach is my favorite campaign of the whole Halo series, so I have a lot of fun going through that. We have a really funny glitch that happens partway through. You'd have to watch and figure out. I think it's in part 3 actually. In part 3 it occurs, so it's like the almost last half of the campaign. Never seen it before. Then again, I also haven't really played Reach on Master Chief Collection, so. This Thursday we'll be starting Halo 1, which is a campaign I played once and have only seen videos of like twice. So if any of you guys are Halo like experts, come tune into that and help me out with like what weapons are actually good in that game and where like secret weapons and achievements are. So it'll be fun. I'm excited to learn all that stuff. How many more bows do I need to kill? Okay. Precision is almost done. Will... Is there any more rifts down here? Yeah, there's one more. Don't bounce me off. Don't bounce me off. Forgot I had thread and needle and not sleeper on.
The Taken are fleeing. I feel the tears in this reality slowly beginning to mend. But this will not be their last trespass. We must remain vigilant. Perhaps
Vigilance
it is
is key.
fortunate that Crow has spread his wings. I do not know how he'd respond to the scorn after what Savathun has shown him.
Agreed. He needs time to come to terms with Uldren's involvement in their creation. He Keep an eye on the harvesters. They'll indicate when the ether is about to be released.
I feel like this one would be the hardest one to do in that legend difficulty. Just basically, all the enemies are going to be super tough. And then you have to destroy... Okay. You have to destroy these orbs almost quickly. Like, you probably have to destroy every single one. Otherwise you'll fail. I'm running low on ammo. Oh shoot, really? It literally took one astral alignment run to get that done? What?
Once we have our Techians back, holding this area will be much
So something I've been
easier.
seeing kind
Thank
of
you
popping
for
up
all your
around
aid.
is everyone's frustrations with the spectral page limit and just how it's turning to an uproar for
Zero claws at the
kind of just
fabric of this reality,
material limits
forcing
in
her way
general.
through. Protect the compass.
And it's just interesting to see that it finally is starting to get like a huge amount of traction in terms of like everyone's opinions coming out and hatred for these limits. I don't know. I thought I'd share my opinion on this. I understand limits for some materials, but in general, I feel like all limits should be fairly high. Like having the 999 limit for everything makes sense to me, just from like a technical standpoint. But then again, I think like planetary materials can stack higher than that, right? So if it's possible, like stuff like weaponsmith materials and whatnot should definitely be increased as well. The spectral page limit is really dumb because what happens is you're playing playlist activities, right? Building up your streak, and then you have to pause that streak, like ruin your 5 streak, just to go do Haunted Lost Sector so you can clear up room for pages and then return, and now you have to build up that streak again, which is 5 games. I honestly don't blame anyone for not wanting to do that again. Can't remember, did I get the kinetic weapon? Nope. Okay. This does not count as kinetic. So why don't we switch it over? So yeah, the spectral page limit, I feel like should have just been the 999. And then stuff like enhancement prisms and ascendant shards. I feel like ascendant shards should increase their limit a bit more. Oh. Please bring me back. Is my stream still good? Okay. We had a nasty storm roll through last night, so some power went out. I was just wondering my internet still stayed on. It is. I know Australia is getting hit hard right now too. There's a couple people in my clan from Australia and they're just angry about being disconnected and whatnot. Let's see. Can I open my menu? I can. So yeah, see, we can go over. Oh, sorry. It's 10,000 is the limit. I just have so many gunsmith materials. Yeah, I feel like that's a good limit. So I'm glad that like materials can do that. Gunsmith materials can do that. There's no real limit, really. It's just. Can I like? How do I resume from? Okay, whatever. Alright. So raid banners, I feel like those should go up higher too, because why cap it at 100? Especially since we have multiple stacks. Make it 10,000. I hate this is limited to. This should. I would be happy if this was like 25. I understand it's a lot, but if you're willing to grind out Grandmasters, if you're willing to grind out endgame activities, you should be allowed to carry more. I know the Postmaster can carry up to 10 as well. This should increase as well. I heard Glimmer should be increased, which I agree with. Glimmer should definitely be increased. People are saying there's a limit on legendary shards, but let's be honest, I've never hit that limit, so I don't feel that's an issue. I am sad that Spoils of Conquest do get limited, although it's really hard to hit that limit if you're not saving up for something. If that makes sense. I'm only saving up because I still need to get the past raid loot. Like, I still need Legend of Acreus, Taraba, stuff like that. Other than that, I think those are the only like limits I'm upset about. Obviously, spectral pages and parallax trajectory. I hate how there's limits on those, especially parallax trajectory, like because it caps your tier 3 Ingrams as well. So there's no point in spending like high amounts, and we're limited. Right? I can't spend more parallax trajectory materials than I do Umbral Ingrams. And you usually get a lot more of these than you do of these. So I'm sure this was an issue before. I don't think many people worry about that now. I don't understand why we can only carry one exotic cipher. I really don't. I can't remember if there's a limit on this. I don't think there is. Or these. But none of these really matter anymore. But yeah, okay. Since we got kicked out of the activity, why don't we do some story time? Let us turn up the music. And read these first 9 pages. We're going to read the Europa series. Here's a reminder again. We'll read Europa this week. And then we'll read the Moon and Nessus next week when I'm feeling better and not so nasally. Sound like a plan? And pull out my controller because it's easier to scroll. It just scrolls nicer. So these are Tales of the Forgotten, a book series I believe just refer to old lore pages. Actually, I could be wrong. But these are stories given to us from Season of the Lost as you complete activities. There are 27 pages total of 3 locations. I think all the stories are interconnected. At least that's what the triumphs make them out to be. And we're going to read the Europa book. Chapter 1. You're not going to make fun of him, are you? The administrator asked with a raise of her eyebrow. He's been through enough already. Just the opposite, Glint assured her. I'm one of the few people who actually believes him. Huh, the administrator replied. She tapped her datapad and brought up the requested hidden reports. Glint transmitted the authorization code Ikora had given him, and he received the decrypted upload seconds later. Robots who believe in the Headless Ones. She shook her head. Boggles the mind. Ghost, actually, Glint corrected. You believe in ghosts too? The administrator tutted. I never figured the Traveler would have made you lot so gullible. Thought you little guys were supposed to be super smart. I mean, you're basically living computers, right? I think we're sentient energy signatures housed in a cybernetic construct, Glint said, trying not to be offended. But I do have an internal database, if that's what you mean. The administrator turned back to her workstation. Well, good luck on your wild goose chase, Mr. Energy Signature. Okay. Chapter 2. The following audio imprint was recovered by Glint, the ghost, during scans of an exo production facility on Europa. Its origin remains a mystery. We all saw it. The machine tower, buried in ice. At first we thought it was a glitch, some kind of psychological artifacting created by the transfer of our consciousness into a digital form. The bio-mind just trying to adapt to life in a machine body. Inconsistencies like that are pretty common, especially right after a reboot. What isn't common is for a whole group of us to experience the same exact vision at the same time. If it's a glitch, it must be a subroutine buried further down than any of us have diagnosed before. Something we all have in common from before the reboot. But if it's not a glitch, then what the hell is it? Well, Glint, I wouldn't classify that as evidence per se, Cryptarch Matsio hedged. The spontaneous creation of similar legends in disparate cultures is a well-documented phenomenon, even in the absence of direct communication. Some scholars call it simultaneous invention. For instance, he continued, the Yetis of Himalayan folklore and the lumbering jacks of North America legend, both reclusive ape-like creatures said to populate the wilderness, or the centaur of Greek mythology and the sheepdog of Northern Europe, both mythical creatures said to be hybrids of other species, etc. So yes, it is interesting that so many cultures have stories of the Headless Ones, but that doesn't prove they exist. If anything, it suggests that simultaneous invention is much more universal than previously thought, Matsio concluded. Chapter 4. Access restricted. Decryption key numbers. Hidden agents redacted. Return to sender European Vex activity. Skirmishes are common in the noted sectors. Neither side seems committed to territorial expansion. I'm reluctant to report that I had another sighting of the glacial cave near Cadmus Ridge. This time I managed to get a good look at the creature with my rangefinder. I wonder what weapon had rangefinder on it. The body was unmistakably that of a hive knight, with the helmet or head appeared to be that of a pumpkin. The pumpkin appeared to have a face carved into it, 3 eyes with a big smiling mouth with flames shooting out. Bright purple flames. I know how that sounds, so I'm submitting myself to Redacted for a full psychological battery. I've instructed her to alert Ikora Ray of the resorts, whatever the outcome. I might actually read all of these because these are super short. I was not expecting these to be like half a page long. The following audio imprint was recovered by Glint, the ghost, during scans of an exo production facility on Europa. Its origin remains a mystery. We finally arrived. Trading the red dust of Mars for the blue ice of Europa feels right. The visions become more intense the closer we got. Mortimus 3 thinks it's a warning from the War Mine, or an assignment. A secret mission, something only we could achieve. Tomorrow we begin our research for the machine tower, but still there's a nagging suspicion. Is this some kind of collective glitch? Is it all just in our heads? Chapter 6. How could they chop off their own heads? Saint 14 interjected. Makes no sense. They would die halfway through. Well, Glint replied, they could have built some kind of device. Guillotine, maybe? Saint 14 held up his massive paws. I have seen many heads removed, some with my own hands, but never have I seen anyone remove their own head, not even an exo. I respect your commitment to this research, Geppetto said, but unfortunately there's no hard evidence supporting your claims. Glint's shell flaps sagged. Sorry, I thought he was gonna like flap in anger, but no. Glint's shell flaps sagged. What about the similarities between all the sightings? Bah, Saint 14 scoffed. People say many things. You should hear what the Elixni say about me. He looked at the floor and scuffed his feet. Not everything you hear is true. I'm happy that you're taking time to rest, Geppetto said, bobbing encouragingly. After everything you and Brother Crow have been through, it's well deserved. Just don't get your hopes up. Access restricted. Description keys did something. Hidden agents redacted. Return to sender European Vex activity. Having reviewed your transmissions and redacted report, leadership has decided to pull you from Europa for reassignment. You are instructed to remain in camp, engage your emergency transponder, and await extraction. Off the record, your last report has been making its way around the tower. It's become a bit of a joke. So when they debrief you, just keep your mouth shut about this pumpkin nonsense. Play it off as exhaustion, an optical illusion, or whatever. And you'll be back in the field in no time. Oof. Alright, I need a water break. So this is just kind of like the start of Glint's search. I have a I wonder if this is like supposed to tie into Savathun or something. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. But. Chapter 8. The following audio imprint was recovered by Glint the Ghost during scans of an exo production facility on Europa. Its origin remains a mystery. Mortimus 3 looked so content, lying on the conveyor belt like he was getting the best sleep of his life. I envied him. Once the conveyor belt started, the maker's spindly pneumatic arms came to life. They descended on Mortimus, darting in and out of his joints, dismantling him piece by piece. It started with his hands and feet and worked its way inward, making him from a whole into a million tiny components. There was a moment, after all of his limbs and torso had been stripped away, that he was just a head with a long jumble of neural connectors streaming out of his neck like a robotic jellyfish. When his eyes opened, he looked at me, mouth gaping, like he was trying to tell me something. And then his eyes went dark. It's my turn next. Chapter 9. Final part to the Europa story. Glint met the former hidden agent in a sake bar called the Drunken Noodle. He had agreed to speak on the condition of anonymity and was already drunk when Glint arrived. Man, they can say whatever they want. I saw what I saw, the man affirmed. He motioned to the proprietor for another picture. They always tell you report everything, no detail too small. You never know what matters most. Bullcrap, he grumbled. I saw what I saw. A headless one, Glint prompted, struggling to contain his excitement. What? No. It had a head. That's what I'm saying. Have you been listening? He lurched to his feet, and nearby diners began to whisper and point. It had a big, smiling pumpkin head, he shouted belligerently, with 3 eyes and purple flame shooting out of it. The bar fell silent. The man suddenly felt everyone staring. Oh boy. So I guess I could probably get through all this. I will be right back. I need to just clear out my sinus. Do you ever wish you could just get a vacuum up there and just suck everything out? Anyways, I need to get that done. I will be back in just a second, and we will continue on with the Luna branch of everything. Alright. Be back. Alright. Felt a little better. But we'll see how long that lasts. Chapter 1. Luna. I've looked beyond this reality, said Eris Morn, lacing her hands together in front of her face, beyond light and darkness. Wow. I've seen Ahamkara, slain by my own blade. I've seen time broken, and the veil of causality sundered. Jeez. I've seen my fire team murdered, and their phantoms manifested to torment me. Eris stared off into the middle distance. I've seen many things I wish I could forget. You've really seen it all, Glint said, and blindfolded. Eris's focus shifted back to the ghost floating before her. But in all my time, the one thing I have never seen. She leaned forward with such deliberate purpose that Glint tilted backward. Is a pumpkin-headed creature with flames shooting out of its face. But what if... Not even once, little light, Eris said with finality. Not even on the moon. I would have remembered. Oof! Eris is getting in on this. From the private notes of Dr. Wade Bow, K1 dig site 4, date unknown. Did I say Bow? It's Bow. Dr. Wade Bow. Had my first bout of pre-dormital sleep paralysis last night. It was expected, given the insomnia. What I didn't expect was for it to feel so real. Now I understand why the miners were scared. The figure standing over me was a shadow, but also solid. My mind was 100% convinced it was physically present. Terrifying. Another surprise was how familiar the shadow seemed. I had the eerie feeling that I would have recognized it if I could have just seen its face. Chapter 3. Layla's eyes fluttered open as she roused herself from a trance. Tekion had been recuperating from retiming the ascendant plane by completing a series of restorative meditations. No sooner had she regained her bearings than Glint scooted in front of her face. "Excuse me, Tekion, Elena?" I'm saying Elena. It's like Elea? The ghost began. "Now that you're awake, do you mind if I ask you a few questions?" His shell's flat tilted sheepishly. "How long have you been watching me meditate?" the Tekion asked, bemused. 143 minutes, Glint said. "It was quite impressive. Crow can barely sleep for an hour without yelling at invisible enemies." "The invisible enemies are the most dangerous," Elea responded. "Just look at Savathun." Glint hummed non-committally. He couldn't tell whether the Tekion was joking or not. "Speaking of invisible enemies," Glint segued, "I wanted to ask you about a sinister group of pumpkin-headed monsters called the Headless Ones. Maybe you heard of them during your training?" Elea frowned quizzically. "I think I might know something of the ones you seek, but to be certain, you must first tell me. What's a pumpkin?" She must be like a newborn awoken, right? Because the awoken retained all their memories. They know about Earth and the lifestyle, so she probably wasn't a firstborn. She's probably like a second or third generation. "But why pumpkins?" Glint asked in... chapter 4. Glint asked in confusion. "Many Golden Age cultures celebrated the transition from autumn to winter by honoring the spirits of the dead," Cryptart Yareli replied. He rummaged through a stack of ancient tomes stored individually in vacuum-sealed containers. That time of the year was thought to be a liminal phase, when living could communicate with the dead. The Cryptart finally located the tome he had been searching for. He pulled out a pair of white cotton gloves and unsealed the container. "This is one of the few remaining source documents on the subject. It was published specifically for gentlemen, an esteemed social class at the time." He began gently leafing through the volume. "Here it is," he said, pointing to the chapter entitled "Pumpkin Body Paint is the Hot New Holiday Trend." Oh gosh. It featured depictions of unclothed humans with orange-ribbed gourds painted on their most globular anatomy. As you can see, pumpkins feature heavily in the iconography of the time. People would paint them all over their bodies, even in highly inconvenient locations. "And this helped them communicate with the dead?" Glint asked, incredulous. Cryptart Yareli replied absently, mesmerized by the historical photos. He frowned. "That part of it remains unclear." What kind of magazine did this man save from? Whatever time period it is. Oh my gosh. This is someone at Bungie who ran across something weird at the store or something. Alright, chapter 5. From the private notes of Dr. Wade Bowe, K1 Dig Site 4, date unknown. "Nobody has slept in over 12 days and people are becoming desperate. We're out of pentobarbital and dexmetamidine. Instances of alcohol abuse are up dramatically. One poor woman even tried to knock herself out with diluted isopropyl alcohol." I slaughtered that, but okay. "Meanwhile, my hallucinations have gotten stronger each night. The shadow is becoming clearer and clearer. For the first time I realized why it seems so familiar. The shadow is me, or another version of me. I also realized why I didn't recognize it sooner. It's because that version of me, from whatever time or dimension, he doesn't have a head. What does he want?" Chapter 6. That way, when they lit the candle, it would light up the face carved into the pumpkin. There was a long pause as Yelea studied the hologram Glint had projected for her. And this was common during the Golden Age? The Techian asked. It was, Glint nodded. Humans used to put this pumpkin head all over the place. They would even paint them on there. But why? Yalea interrupted. Oh, they thought it would help them speak with the dead, Glint chirped matter-of-factly. The tech witch furrowed her brow, piecing together many fragments of desperate lore. These legendary pumpkins were tools for seeing beyond the veil of death, she mused. That makes sense. They would become the emblem of... She looked at Glint expectingly. The Headless Ones, Glint encouraged her. I'm really trying to make that name stick. I think it's pretty neat. The enthusiasm of Glint kills me. Oh my gosh, he's like a... Imagine a man, like, a person in their 40s, right? That same kind of, like, mental growth. But also just the innocence of, like, a 10-year-old. That's Glint. He's very smart and capable, but man, this is funny. Chapter 7. Cade used to tell stories about the Headless Ones, Ikora recounted with a wry smile. He said he killed dozens of them on the moon. The way he told it, they exploded like piñatas. She raised her eyebrows. Of course, it only ever happened when he was alone. The rest of us never found anything but Hive. Do you think there might be some truth to his stories? Glint asked, encouraged. Cade wasn't a liar, but he did love to embellish. That's what made him a great storyteller. She chuckled at a happy, unspoken memory. Glint arched his shell flaps. So you wouldn't mind if I looked at these reports? Ikora considered. I don't see why not. The files are decades old by now. Just promise me one thing, she said. If you do find something, tell me. Tell everyone. Cade would have liked that. Chapter 8. From the private notes of Dr. Wade Bow, K1 Dig Site 4, date unknown. The hallucinations have become persistent. My headless friend now appears during the daytime as I see him out of the corner of my eye, but when I turn my head, he disappears. I've also started losing time. I will blink and suddenly I'm in a strange location several hours later. I'm not sure if it's a short-term memory loss or if it's a vague state yesterday. Or a fugue? Pause. The crap what is this word? State or period of loss of awareness of one's identity, often occupied with flight from one's usual environment, associated with certain forms of hysteria and epilepsy.
Fugue.
A fugue. Ah. Okay. Never heard of that. Or a fugue state yesterday. I woke up in an equipment locker standing in front of the plasma cutter. Several were already missing. The shadow was standing right next to me. I think I know what he wants. He wants his head. Chapter 9. Last one for the Luna series. Monsters exist in Awoken legends, some of which originated during humanity's golden age. Yalea explained to Glint as they strolled through the dusky gardens of the dreaming city. It was a time when many attempted to subvert the laws of life and death, like Clovis Bray, as well as a faction of the Hive. Yalea raised an eyebrow in Glint's direction. Bray used the tools of the Vex, while Hive blasphemers practiced the magical art of necromancy. Her tone darkened. Both succeeded, after a fashion. The early Hive experiments were done in secret, under the guidance of a powerful wizard, whose name will not mentioned here. Not Grace, Glint offered. Yes, Yalea grimaced. The unmentionable wizard created many abominations, using deceased and living subjects, including your unfortunate moon miners. She steepled her fingers. It's possible that access to these powerful pumpkins were a boon to his research. Her eerie gaze pierced Glint's mechanical eye. This may explain why the headless ones persist to this day, and why their flaming visages bear a similarity to your Golden Age relics. Wow, that explains a lot, Glint marveled, but, he continued reluctantly, pumpkins aren't powerful relics, they're just fruit. They are indeed, Yulia concluded direly, the fruit of the damned. Well, I mean, I enjoy pumpkin pie. Roasted pumpkin seeds are really good too. In fact, I should be carving pumpkins this next week. I wonder if someone in Bungie has a real gripe against pumpkins. Like, is there like a diet out there that goes against pumpkins? Like a vegan option, but pumpkins is listed as unedible or whatever. Who knows? Well, that's Luna down. Let's move on to Nessus. Let's see what Glint's discoveries bring him. Chapter 1. That was a suppressed cough. Alright. As Glint neared the Exodus... As Glint neared the Exodus Black, he requested permission to board over open comms. A chipper digital voice quickly replied, "Yes, I'm happy to receive you, even if you are a terrible ingrate." "Thanks, Failsafe." Glint scooted into the ship. Skip. Away from the prying eyes of the Vex and Fallen. "I know the Vanguard hasn't been back here in a while, but..." "Correct! It has been almost 2 years since they last visited, even though you promised to come back often," the AI replied. "I've since developed the emotion of betrayal, just for you." "Well, I'm here now." Glint tried to keep his tone light. "I was hoping you could help me with the research project." "Of course, I'm happy to be exploited for your gain," Failsafe replied happily, and then in a more dour tone, "Anything to break up the unending loneliness." "I'm hoping you could tell me about the headless ones." Glint uploaded all the information he had to Failsafe's mainframe. "I have intel that they're around here somewhere." "You are correct," the AI replied. "They're my neighbors, and they're the absolute worst." So wait, I mean, I've visited Failsafe every now and again, maybe like once a month. Pick up random bounties at the start of seasons, right? But I guess ever since Cade died, he stopped visiting Failsafe. Huh. Well, that's very sad. Hopefully, I wonder if like the voice actress for Failsafe is still around, or if they'll have to get a new one. Anyways, let's get back to the story. Chapter 2. Access restricted, decryption key something, agents redacted. Return to sender, the Nessus crash site. We're not the only ones surveying this crash site. Fallen have been pouring into the area, fighting with Vex for control of the wreckage. For now, we've dug into some subterranean ruins just west of the downed ship. We're covering the entrance and can hold our position so long as they don't find an access point to our flank, but there's just too many for the 4 of us. We'll need reinforcements if we want to secure the site. Stand by for instructions. Okay. Water break. Okay. Chapter 3. "I have heard tales of such creatures," Mithrax said, his deep voice resonated through the ruins. "Those with eyes of fire, tormented by endless burning." "And where do the Elixir think they came from?" Glint asked. "Some say they were once Hive, twisted by foul experiments." He paused to take a pull from his rebreather. "Others say they were guardians who turned to darkness." "Has anyone from House Light seen them?" Mithrax emitted a series of low clicks, which Glint took as grumbling. "Clayfix, our engineer, says he witnessed the creatures on Nessus, but..." The enormous Kel seemed to be struggling with the translation. "Yes, what about him?" "What is the human word for one with good spirit, but who speaks loudly and without reason?" he asked. An idiot?" Glint offered gently. Next time I call someone an idiot, I'm just gonna say, "You're a man with good spirit, but speaks loudly without reason." We'll see if I remember that, but that's a funny definition for an idiot. Chapter 4. They've been hanging around in those ruins for centuries, Failsafe continued brightly, but they've never once come to say hello. If they've been there that long, why don't they appear more often? Glint asked. The eyes snipped. Why don't you ask them? Oh wait, you can't because they only speak in fiery shrieks. I see. What's your best guess then? Glint asked. They probably don't want to be smashed by rampaging guardians, the eye responded dourly. How should I know? I just figured that since you're one of the greatest intelligences in the system, you might have some insight, Glint said. Your disingenuous compliment has been noted and appreciated, Failsafe replied, the lilt returning to her voice. Would you like to play checkers? For fuck's sake. I forgot how insane Failsafe is. Oh no! What did I do? Okay, chapter 5. Access restricted, decryption key, blah blah blah, agents redacted, and return to sender Ness's crash site. Mayday, extraction needed. The Fallen found an access point into the ruins. They hit our flank an hour ago. Dasana and Rubin were killed in the initial blast. We fire away to a defensible position but won't last long. Marat survived, but he's been gut shot. Without a ghost, he won't get through the night. We're surrounded. Shooting our way out is no longer an option. We need orbital bombardment to cover our exit, followed by immediate medical extraction. Oof. So wait, is this a team of guardians? What the crap happened to their ghosts? What? I feel like the lore behind like killing ghosts is very out there. I've heard many different ways. Alright, chapter 6. Ido translated Glint's questions to Cliffix, who sprawled across his chair with an air of self-importance. The two conversed for almost a minute before Ido turned back to Glint. Cliffix will tell you what he has seen, but he must receive something in return. She bobbed her head slightly, which Glint interpreted as equivalent to an eye roll. He wants his own sparrow. Glint quickly scanned his internal database for decommissioned sparrows and identified several old models that he thought would be to Cliffix's liking. When Ido relayed Glint's optimism, the engineer's mandibles clicked in what the ghost assumed was excitement. The Elixni chittered back and forth. Ido then translated. He says that he saw the creatures on Nessus during his time with the House of Dusk. They were fighting the Vex over the remnants of a crashed human ship. The exit is black, Glint interjected. Just so, Cliffix claims. She emphasized the word and paused to make her skepticism clear. That during one of those battles, he sheltered in some ruins near the crash site. Inside, he says he saw a being with a round, bulbous head and flames for eyes. They chittered back and forth once more. He says it did not attack, but he doubts you will be welcome. I keep doing this. Keep hitting the up arrow. Oh, okay. Chapter 7. King me, Glint chirped as he scooted his digital pip into Failsafe's back row. Sounds very inappropriate, but we'll go with it. The holographic checkers board hanging in front of him suddenly exploded in a shower of digital cubes. Murky darkness filled the Exodus Black's cabin. Oops, the AI said. I accidentally knocked the board over. How clumsy of me. Well, Glint fidgeted, inching towards the exit. I should get back to the Guardian. We're going to visit your neighbors. Great. Next time you come by, I'll reveal their true origins, the AI volunteered slyly. But you see you didn't know where they came from, Glint objected. You asked why they never visited me, not the nature of their existence. Those are two different questions, Failsafe said. But come again, the AI continued, and I'll tell you everything you want to know about the Hive Necromancer who ripped the concept of headless ones from the human subconscious. But only if I come back to visit, right? That's right, said Failsafe smudgely. I hear that's called incentive. What a weirdo. Alright. So I'm assuming that some of these headless ones were part of her crew. Oh my gosh, I keep doing this. This is so annoying. I'm sorry. Chapter 8. Access restricted. Key something. Redacted. Nessus crash site. At 6 a.m. Orbital bombardment completed. 6:10. Insertion completed. Evidence of heavy fighting surrounding the crash site. No response on open channels. 6:22. Holdout site located. Entrance barricaded from outside as described. No evidence of a breach attempt. 6:47. Barricade breach. Entrance deemed stable. Fallen forces occupy the ruins. Comms still silent. 7:32. Forward assault team has secured the area. Small arms fire ongoing. We've located 3 human bodies, each with multiple gunshot wounds. Their heads have been removed. 7:55. Evidence that at least one more human body was scattered by explosives. No sign of the team's weapons, ghosts, or heads. That is very grody. 8:26. Fallen reinforcements are mobilizing. Rear guard is exchanging heavy weapons fire. 8:36. Extraction initiated. Site remains under fallen control. Bringing back what remains we can. Traveler, help us all. Chapter 9. Glint! It's good to see you, Ava exclaimed. I've been enjoying your additions to our little collection. She patted the Book of the Forgotten. Though it makes me sad to think of all those poor lost souls, driven mad by this or that, even if they are just tall tales. Actually, Glint chirped, the Guardian and I are close to proving once and for all that the Headless Ones are real. My goodness, Ava shook her head in disbelief. Then again, I wouldn't be surprised. The system keeps getting stranger and stranger. Just then, a guardian wearing a ferocious chicken mask offered Ava some candy. She politely declined. Yeah, they can't hold a candle to the city. There's no one stranger than us, Glint said. They giggled like schoolchildren, and for a moment, all their worries were forgotten. Huh. Alright. This was not the book I was expecting to be reading. Or like, this. Never mind. This book is not what I expected it to be. We just read 27 pages of essentially nonsense. But apparently, it's within Destiny lore now, these Headless Ones. I have no idea how this relates to anything going on in the story, or anything that's happened in the past. But if I have to conclude anything from this, is that within the Witch Queen, we are going to be encountering many, many pumpkins. It's the only thing I can derive from all of this. Huh. Well, I'm glad I spent countless hours grinding out these pages. If you haven't gotten them yet, and were wanting to read through them, there you go. We read through all of them. If you want to keep grinding out those pages, go for it. I think another incentive to doing so is... Gosh, the music got real loud. Is the more pages you complete part of the book, like the more rolls and weapons you get at the end of Lost Sectors. So I believe that is the incentive to do it, gameplay wise. But you know, I could be wrong. Let's just go back, review that. But other than that, that's Festival of the Lost. Those are all the funky lore pages that we're moving out to collect.
Oh, I'm so happy to see you.
I believe the whole first 9 costs 3, then 5, then 9. Something like that. So it's going to require a couple max stacks of these pages, which, again, we talked about the limit we have for stuff.
Yes,
And how annoying that can be. trying to think, like, where does it say that, like, you get increased
Back
loot?
to work. Let's see, let's see.
I don't know. Anyways,
We feel so much safer with you warlocks doing.
but that's about it. I don't know what else to do. There's no new story missions, no new lore. We're still, I guess, waiting for Saint 14 to get his butt down to the ritual site. I think that's what we're waiting for. Again, what I think is going to happen is Festival of Lost will complete, and then maybe we'll get some more story for Season of the Lost, maybe another thing or two. And then the Bungie 30th anniversary will happen, and then we'll go straight into Witch Queen, with maybe something happening the last week or two before the release of the DLC. But who knows, right? Honestly. And with that being said, so yeah, Season of the Lost, and then 30th anniversary, which not sure how that fits. The Witch Queen, seasons, and then story continues.
Status pending. My programming tells me it is a very nice day.
What might happen actually is at the end of Festival of the Lost, we'll continue through the story. Aramis will not. Sorry, Aramis is standing there. Savathun will escape. Like we'll release her, she'll escape, and then during this time period, it's like she's setting up her stuff while we're hunting her down in the background. And then we find her, and then we go after her. So that could be what happens. 30th anniversary starts same time Halo Infinite, so that's going to be a fun time. Very busy week for us. Hopefully all my finals are done so I can spend as much time doing that for you guys. But that's about it in terms of content for this week. Hope everyone's enjoying Festival of the Lost. I know a lot of people are still grinding out the pages. It really doesn't take that long. For me, it helped that I was trying to grind out Gambit. So win or loss, I was just trying to just get the infamy ranks and points to get the ornament, which I am getting there. So that was the main thing. I think I grinded out Wrathborn hunts before it was patched for about an hour. I didn't do it for that long, and that gave me probably enough for the whole second row. But then all like the 9 requirement pages, came from Gambit. Running the Haunted Lost sectors is actually kind of a pain. I think the mechanic of like to prevent people from AFK farming it, where you only get a page if you participate in the kill, I wouldn't mind that so much. But the problem is there's a mechanic in place. If you start killing things too quickly, they start spawning much more frequently. Meaning it's almost impossible for you to get all of the Headless One kills without some sort of coordination going. Because you'll be working on one summoning spot, you can't see the other summoning spot, that gets summoned by your teammates, they kill it, and then you just don't get points for it. So it's a whole page that you just don't have decrypted. So run it with a fire team, coordinate, you can summon them, and then just make sure everyone damages each night before you kill it. And then everyone will get the credit for the kill. And by the end, you should be able to decrypt 15 pages per run, I think is the max. Because you get the 10 for the initial. And then when you're killing the boss, she has the 3 damage phases, right? So when she shields the first time, you have 2 pits. Make sure you summon both of them, damage both of them, kill them, and then take down her shield. Damage her to the next phase. Then 3 pits will appear. All 3 of you summon those. Damage them all, kill them all, and then take down her shields and kill her. So that's the greatest way to farm out these pages. And it shouldn't take it too long. I mean, Haunted Lost Sectors only take like, what, 6 minutes, 7 minutes? Depending how quickly you can get through the boss fight. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the story time. My throat is very dry. Starting to lose my voice. That was a lot of reading. But yeah. Not sure what to do next week, because next week is still a Festival of the Lost. Right? Yes. Next week is will be the last week for Festival of the Lost. Who knows? Maybe we can try and do something or just chill. Maybe like I'll hop on Destiny just to see if there's anything new, and if not, we can just play. Oh, sorry. Play some Halo. Just get that series going more, because I still need to play through the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, ODST, and 4th at least. But yeah. Thanks everyone for watching. I know. Lots of listening, but hopefully my soothing voice didn't put you to sleep. I will see you all on Thursday for Halo.